In the MK 2011 review, I went in depth on a couple of scenes and explained how they could have been handled a lot better. For this game though, I'm going to go over a way you could make the overall story better, not just a specific scene. If I had full control, I'd just ignore the entire thing with the infighting and maybe go with the crime syndicate and alternate versions of the villains as heroes in a cross-dimensional battle type story. However, for this segment, I'm going to keep the basic story of a hero going bad and creating a rift in the superhero community, and change a smaller detail to show how this could have been done better, hopefully. Let's begin. The story would start with the destruction of Gotham instead of Metropolis. It always bugged me that it was a Batman villain who ruined Superman's life because God forbid anyone other than Batman villains get to do anything. Rather than the Joker, I'd say it was Ra's al Ghul or Vandal Savage, you know, someone else with much greater resources than the Joker. Batman loses a lot in the destruction of Gotham, his home, Alfred, maybe one of the Robins in the GCPD. In his grief, Batman decides enough is enough and he kills Ra's or permanently incapacitates Savage. Like I've said before, I feel like Batman would make a lot more sense as the one to go bad, seeing how he's always riding the line, and the subject of killing villains seems to come up a lot more often with him than with Clark. Now, some might say the reason Batman vs Superman works is the underdog factor. Batman, a mere mortal, versus Superman, who is unto a god. You know, a real David and Goliath deal. But the reason Batman even has a chance against Superman is his preparedness, especially in settings with an established league where Bruce has countermeasures in place for them all. A rogue Superman is scary and dangerous, but a rogue Batman already has plans in place to stop all of the big hitters before anyone knows what's happening. So I see Superman as being the real underdog in a fight between the two. Anyway, Batman puts together a team of those willing to kill, like Red Hood or a few mercs like Deathstroke. He heads to Arkham and starts killing villains there. Some of them manage to escape, including Harley Quinn and the Joker. Some of them go to the League and tell them Batman's gone crazy and he's killing everyone at Arkham. The heroes don't believe them at first, but someone points out that Arkham escapees wouldn't go running to the League unless they had a damn good reason. Clark says he'll go meet with Bruce and find out what's going on, confident he can deal with it. He and Bruce meet and talk, and Bruce explains that, yes, he has decided that supercriminals need to be executed. Superman tries to talk him down, but Batman says it's easy for Superman to say that when he can end most conflicts before they escalate that far, but Bruce is just a man, and he was Gotham's top defender. The debate goes on until Bruce realises there's no getting through, so he sprays Clark with kryptonite gas and clocks him in the face with kryptonite brass knuckles, knocking him out. Bruce imprisons Clark, but not for re-education, because if the game's version of Clark genuinely believed he was doing the right thing, he wouldn't view non-compliant heroes as obstacles to be eliminated. He would instead see them as uninformed allies who insist on viewing the world in a naive black and white manner, and so Bruce here has that viewpoint. Throughout the game, rather than cutting back to Clark to show him twirling his fucking mustache, Bruce regularly visits Clark to try and talk him into joining his side, while Clark persists in holding on to his morals and urging Bruce to rediscover his. It's clear throughout that Bruce gets no enjoyment out of this and is actually incredibly guilt-ridden about the whole thing. Meanwhile, when Superman fails to check in and Flash and other heroes scope things out, it becomes clear that Batman has indeed gone rogue. So Wonder Woman gathers the League to try and talk Bruce down, or failing that, take him in. But Bruce has a lot of reinforcements, including a few less monstrous villains who agree to join Batman's new crusade, leaving the confrontation at a stalemate. As time passes, more and more heroes and villains are sucked into the conflict, some joining Batman's pragmatic faction, like maybe Hal Jordan or Green Arrow, while others join Wonder Woman's side out of a desire to remain moral guardians to the rest of the planet, or fear of being killed by Batman. Every confrontation between Diana and Bruce sees both desperately urging the other to see things from their perspective. Bruce brings up hypotheticals of Diana losing loved ones, and Diana brings up Bruce's original mission and the memory of those he did lose to the table. Fighting is always a last resort, but they notably resort to it quicker each time, until Diana finds herself wondering if her only option is to kill Bruce and vice versa, a concept neither one relishes as opposed to Regime Superman, who immediately resorts to it every fucking time. Bruce's side kill a number of villains, and a few heroes are killed by accident or by the villains either side employs. For the most part, Diana takes villains in to give them a chance to reform, which a fair few do, while Bruce imprisons a bunch of heroes so he can try and talk them around, which works on some, like the impressionable Shazam. The rest are then released in a raid on Batman's base at the end of the story, possibly with help from the Prime heroes. The final battle sees Diana and a weakened Clark both confronting Bruce, possibly with Prime Bruce to complete the Trinity. Bruce and his followers are incarcerated, and Clark makes a point of visiting Bruce every day, even after everything Bruce did to him, after spending years in a kryptonite-laced cell, because that, my friends, is Superman. The ultimate aim of this reimagining is to attempt to keep the cast's established personalities intact, to avoid the typical Batman vs Superman scenario, to have it be someone other than Superman who goes bad for once, to reduce the number of casualties, and to create a greater sense of a rift in the superhero community rather than everyone is wrong other than Batman. These were my major issues with the game's story, and Injustice would be a much stronger product if they sought to avoid these, well, the cliches by this point from how often they're used. Is it too much to ask for a DC fighting game to give me DC heroes and DC villains instead of these horrible misinterpretations who will fight at the drop of a hat and who are total waste of the talents of the actors and character designers and everyone else involved? If Marvel has no trouble with their film and game portrayals, then why the hell is it so hard for DC to get it right?